Now, I'm very happy to welcome back the co-host of the Deep Dive podcast, as well as the director of content at BetSperts, and Mr. Andy, the Machine Molitor from BetSperts.com. You can follow Andy at AndyMSFW. Andy, I think that if you were in the WWE, you might be called the Machine Molitor. I'm not sure, so I thought about that to spice it up.
Yeah, I guess my only other nickname growing up was Molly, which is not nearly as intimidating as the Machine. It's not even a good heel nickname. So I'll go with the Machine. I like that better.
Andy the Machine Molitor. He bets like a machine, my friends. There you go. Yeah, and for me, Kiev, Karate Kiev, Killer Kiev, whatever. I'm not sure if my UFC debut would have any of those, but it's just yours just sounded so good and rolled right off the tongue. So remember that when you're in these massive competitions in the future. But what's going on in your world of Viking domination, my man, out in Mini?
Yeah, it's a get right week, I suppose, for the Vikes here. Although all the injury news in the last 15 minutes went against them. I think you're probably going to see 2.5s painted across the board now after it was, a kind of a spendy +3 for most of the afternoon. But Puka in, Hawk out. I don't know. I still get some really weird vibes about that game, though, because they're floating the rumors of hey, we might trade him. The Rams, have actually reached out to other teams to trade Cooper Kupp. We want to get rid of that, hoping for a high draft pick, which sounds like rebuild. They're 12th place in the conference. They have a bunch of teams to jump to even think about making the playoffs. It doesn't feel like they can even get to second place in their division, and now they're just we're bringing Kupp back, we're bringing Puka back. So it'll be interesting to see how much, if those guys have a short leash tonight, or what, if they're show pony, putting them out there, say, look how fast Coop can run. He's healthy. He's worth a second round pick. He just goes out there for a few drives and shows teams that he's healthy, I guess. And maybe I guess I don't know what the deal is with Puka, although it has been 5 weeks for him.
I don't know either. And I expected him to be a little bit eased back too. I didn't know he was going to play tonight. I thought they're going to keep him out, just throw Kupp in. It's hard to figure out motivation during trade deadlines here. It's funny we're jumping right into this game, but I think we should talk about that a little bit more when we get to this game. But I always want to talk a couple of other issues, there's always a question I like to ask my guests, and obviously overrated, underrated, according to the market. But the one I came up with today was, who's the real Super Bowl contenders going into NFL Week 8? Because I've got a couple that people said that's not on mine, but maybe you have it a little bit different. So NFC and AFC, who do you think the real contenders are?
Man, at this point in the NFC, is there a team outside of the NFC North that you really want to go to war with? Which is how injured the Niners are, the limitations we've seen from Philadelphia, basically the ceiling that you have for anybody from the NFC South. Is it just like Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay? That's kind of messed up to say, as you do have to put a lot of respect on Kyle Shanahan and what Purdy's done, and maybe at the end of the year, Christian McCaffrey is running fine. Juwan Jennings is fully healthy. So, Ayuk is done. But if it's a healthy team at the end of the year, probably still put the Niners in that conversation. The teams below that, the Philly, Dallas, Seattle, Atlanta, Tampa, that kind of section feels a lot less likely. And then AFC is probably Baltimore, Kansas City, Buffalo. That's the easy big three. I think the AFC is pretty easy.
That's what I have in the AFC. It's boring. But I think in the AFC there's only 3 contenders: Baltimore, Kansas City, Buffalo. And I put an asterisk by Baltimore until Lamar can show they can do it in the playoffs too. It feels just a little. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the whole amazing Baltimore team that fails your bet in the playoffs. It metrically doesn't make sense in a lot of cases, but that's what they've been. But it's funny. I do have 2 NFC North teams in the NFC for a Super Bowl contenders that I believe in. And one's Detroit, and 2 is Green Bay. Minnesota, I think, is much better than we thought, and I don't disagree with that. And I'm not even saying that they're a fade team. I just can't see them being a real contender with Sam Darnold yet. And
it's so hard to get your head around that.
I know. I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. And I pick Green Bay because I trust the coach a little bit more. I know LaFleur can make his bonehead decisions, but I just feel like there's a little bit more trust there. I know Minnesota just lost their linebacker too for a little while. What's his face? That's
Cashman is out.
Blake Cashman, and that affects my prop bets. I was going to fade Kyron Williams and take the under on his rushing. That kind of hurt that, but San Francisco, I had to put there because I do see CMC back. Juwan Jennings is fine. Ayuk, it doesn't matter. Ayuk is, you just need another guy open there. I've always believed that was a bad contract to sign Ayuk, and Debo's going to be back maybe even this week. I think San Francisco's still there, and I think Philadelphia is there, believe it or not. I hate their defense, but they do have Vic Fangio that maybe can do some stuff. I believe in Philadelphia just because some of their star power that they have on offense, especially with that the running backs there. He's been awesome. Their defense is a question, but I think they could come around. And so I added Philly, but there's no way Dallas is there. Oh. There's absolutely no way. I don't think the Bears are there. I think they're a little bit fugazi. I love the Bears are my team, but they're not there. And the other hype ones, Tampa might have been a consideration if they didn't lose their top two receivers. And Evans is going to be out a long time. Godwin was huge to them. I value them at maybe a point or less even to the power number, but when you put them together, I put them at like 4 points downgrade for them just being out, Andy. So
yeah, they've had problems with their depth at wide receiver throughout the year. I mean, the 3, 4, and 5 guy have all been hurt at certain times too. So like, it's not like they have some strong depth behind those two as well. So tough spot for them. Yeah, and when I mentioned Dallas too, clearly like Dallas is a middle of the pack team at this point. I was just kind of thinking of teams that prior to the season, who you would have said Dallas and Houston are a couple you would have said prior to the season, I think. And they're definitely both very much out kind of in that, 13 to 18 range for if you want to power rank teams right now.
Well, that leads me into our next question, buy low, sell high with respect to the market and how you're valuing these teams. So maybe it is a team that you bet on or faded this week, or you can just maybe don't like the number and want to do it in the future. But I'll start and sell high. And you could, the Texans were my second choice, but I have to put the Steelers as my first choice. Now, don't get me wrong. We undervalued them. Under 8.5 at plus 100 is probably dead for their season wins, especially seeing Cleveland lately. But I just think that Steelers, now that they're laying 6 points, anytime the Steelers are laying a lot of points, I'm still scratching my head. I know that TJ Watt is a massive disruptor, man. And that dude is the best defender in the league. I've been screaming. I was, as a Badger fan and a Bears fan, I was screaming during the draft to draft him, but he went in the 20s. And so they got a hell of a player for that. But at the same time, I'm not a big believer in that offense there. And I think their offensive line can get got to as soon as they play a team with a mean defense. And that's coming up, that they're going to be in a little trouble. So I would have picked the second. How about sell high for you?
Yeah, I have the Steelers pretty low too. I mean, I have them as like my 20th rated team right now. So I'm low. I can't get to 6.5 for, I have a very low rating in the Giants, but even with that, I can't get to this number. I don't understand it. I don't think what Russ did last week was very repeatable. I'd agree with you there. I disagree with how high some places are rating the Bears. And I believe in a lot of things they're doing. I like what their pass rush has done. I like some things we've seen from the offense, but they have really not played very many good defenses. Like I think this offense is probably going to take some steps back, and it's going to turn them into kind of where we're at. They shouldn't be a middle of the pack team quite yet. They should be down in that 20th range, and they're getting rated as slightly above average by some places. So I'm a little lower than the market than on the Bears. Yeah, it's not as hot of a take as the Steelers. Like the Steelers one is, I'm right there with you. You stole the good answer.
In the Texans, well, it's good we think alike. The Bears are ranked number 13th on team rankings, predictive power ratings. I don't have the Bears that high. I still have them right in the middle of the pack as like a fat zero, kind of like averagey, until I see them beat some good teams. Beating the Carolina hasn't aged well for anybody. Same with, the Jacksonville flies out late. They have all the hurricane issues, and the Bears actually got their way before them. I think that was a big part of that handicap as well. But yeah, I agree with that. Let's go to buy low next, I believe, right? So we're looking at a team that may have some value coming up. Yeah, I'm gonna let you start so I don't steal yours.
No, it's funny. Drew and I kind of ended up on the same page with something the other day, and it was looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he wants to go for the gusto. He wanted to bet 25-1 to win the division, and some of that is a fate of Houston and just seeing that offense not looking as good as we thought it would be, especially without Nico Collins. I mean, it's just like they flipped a switch. But the Jaguars have a tough one, hosting Green Bay. They play the Eagles, they play the Vikings, they play the Lions. But after that, there's a stretch of very winnable games.
Yes.
If they can split with, if they can split with some of these good teams, they can kind of, run the table through the end of the season there, end up in the playoffs. I like them to make the playoffs a little better. But I mean, the biggest thing is just their quarterback is playing well right now. And that matters more than anything else on the field. And if you go back and look at Trevor's stats, even in the loss, in kind of a tough spot there for the last 3-4 weeks, it's been a massive improvement from where they started the season. So it's not the easiest schedule at times, but I do think we can get some Jaguar wins and end up in the wild card spot at least.
Well, that'd be amazing.
That's a team I was, kind of put them in the ground a couple weeks ago. Like, oh, this
yeah, me too. Well, I mean, Drew and me both, I think, if I remember from last year, kind of like them as a AFC champion sleeper, and that never got even close to sniffing.
Oh, no.
But the problem with the Jaguars is that they do have talent. It's just that they haven't put it – they fumble the games away. The turnovers have always killed them. They're better than what they should be. And you really got me thinking. Maybe in the beer bet bangers section at the end, maybe we'll hear their name again. That's really interesting because I didn't pick one yet. So that is – I mean, I am definitely down on the Colts without Flacco, and I'm definitely down on the Texans and what they are, especially on this stretch here without Nico Collins.
Yeah. And just to the point of, taking the wussier bet of just making the playoffs rather than the massive 25-1. If you go look at the rest of the AFC in the wild card chase, there are some kind of rough teams in that 5-12 range. Like, you don't have to be that good to make it in as like a 6 or 7 seed, I believe, in the AFC right now. There's like 5 good teams. And then it's like, that tweet that went out about how the Jets still had this X percentage chance to make the playoffs. It's like, what? Then you go look at the race, but like, oh man, everybody's just tripping over it right now. Like, right. They do have a decent chance to make the playoffs, and that's not good. There's going to be some bad, like the 2-7 and the 3-6 in the AFC playoffs could be pretty bad, like double-digit favorite kind of things.
100%. And oh god, they have some nice matchups. And I mentioned that weeks ago, but they just kept losing, so I kind of forgot about it. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to go with the Saints just because they're getting healthy. And it's not necessarily this week with Rattler. I don't trust him a lot. That dude looks really small out there. I don't know if you kind of noticed. He looks way smaller than I thought, for an NFL quarterback, that doesn't necessarily have the biggest wheels. I'm not sure if he's NFL at all. And I expect Carr to get back, but I just think that this team, as bad as they look right now, is going to be better based upon the injury bug too. So I'll go with the Saints. It's not fun. I'm not saying I'm betting them this week, but I can see myself being on them at some point here.
Yeah, they all get healthier. I mean, they have to. They can't get any more hurt.
Yeah, not that many out for the season, I know, except for Rashid Shaheed, but they will get their guys back. All right, well, let's get into some NFL Week 8 because we have a massive slate, Andy. I mean, no bye weeks, which is really weird, but still, it's the NFL. That's what they do, and that means there's a lot of games. We can pass on anything if we don't feel like it's worth the discussion. Or we can just go ahead and pick. So now we have the Vikings tonight, and they are on the road at the Rams. The Rams are plus 2.5, total 47.5. You already made some really good points about this game.
Yeah, I did send out. I put in the newsletter, and I talked about it yesterday. I played under 48. I do respect a lot about the Vikings defense, and I have some issues with the Rams up front. They haven't been great. They've been pressured almost more than anyone in the league. Sack percentage, just anything I looked at for what if I have a good pass rush against this offensive line and quarterback right now. And I know some of that has been I don't have the world's best slot receiver at my disposal. They maybe not that bad, but they are still bad. So I like this Vikings to match up against them. Their red zone percentage is pretty low as well. I don't hate people taking the Rams in this spot because I think both teams will be a little lower scoring. The Rams defense on paper doesn't look good as a whole, but they have some guys flashing. The two rookies from FSU have been very good. They've gotten something out of Turner. Like some of the pieces in the front seven have put up some good stats, despite the overall numbers not looking good at times for them. So I did play some under 48. I think I had it like 46 is where I thought this number should be. That is trickling down. I was surprised that Hawk and Puka didn't balance each other out. But the report from one of the big names a few minutes ago was Puka's playing. We just don't know how much. They said, we're going to trot him out there pregame, run him around, and see how much we think we should play him. So that kind of screams he's not a full go right now. So we'll see what we actually get from Kupp and Nakua in this spot.
My metrics say the Vikings win by a good amount. The problem is how much do you value them coming back? And you also have to remember that they were there in the beginning and they weren't that great. It's tough. I think it's a great spot for the Rams, but it's also a better spot for the Vikings because they're coming off a loss. The prop market is kind of where I dove in. And maybe a lot of you guys get this, if you're not going to watch on YouTube, you'll get it late after the game tomorrow morning. But I took Aaron Jones over 67.5 rushing yards because I truly believe the Vikings will have a lead at some point. And I think Jones is healthier than before, from what I heard. And he played last week. So I know that the Rams ranked 29th in opponent rush EPA. And I think that there's just a lot of ways that gets home. So I gave that out on TikTok for our TikTok prop, but that's probably worth saying because you have a little line value there. I see the under is more hit right now. It's more of a soft 47.5 now, so that's good. And I can see.
I like to see that, and I like Jones. I didn't play anything yet. I didn't look up his number. But that it's funny you quoted. Like I had that exact stat when I was looking at some EPA numbers and just I kind of accumulated a bunch of running stats and threw it in one place. And success rate was 26th against the run. EPA, like you said, was 29th. And they're giving up 9.5 first downs per game on the ground, which was 31st. Like basically any stat you wanted to pull was like, hey, this is a better coverage team right now. Like they can rush the passer, they can cover a little. The run game is not so great. And if it does turn into a spot where Minnesota leads, I don't think they love Chandler. They went and traded for another running back at a certain point last week too. So I think it is going to be heavy Jones. And I mean, he seems like he's probably good for 80 at least tonight, even without breaking one.
I hope so. Let's go, man. And the Rams run the ball successful, so that also shines to the under too. So we'll see how that works out for us. All right, Titans, Lions now minus 11.5. I'm just going by DK. It's a very good national book for people that listen. Total is 45, and I go by DK doesn't do rotation, so I've gotten into many times with people about that. But anyways,
rotation numbers are all messed up this week anyway because they moved games.
Yeah, they did.
So you go afternoon back to noon anyway. Maybe
thank you.
Yeah, maybe we don't even worry about it. So Tennessee Detroit was that's such an easy pass. Like the conventional wisdom is take all those. That's so many points for a team to be laying off a big emotional win going from a divisional win to take first place. You need it. And then going to a big garbage spot like this where you're playing an AFC team. Like somebody had said this to me about run lines in baseball with the 1.5. because they'd lay the heavy juice sometimes when they wanted to. I said, you never play the run lines? I'm like, teams are incentivized to win games. They're not incentivized to win games by 2. And that's the same thing.
That's
Like
right.
Detroit isn't incentivized to cover this. And it's such a pain for people who lay big numbers seeing the team with the ball late in the game just winding down the clock. Like they don't want to score.
They'll drive it to drive it to the 1 yard line and then kneel it out. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and so that's the tough thing about big numbers like this, especially with outside of Branch, it's a secondary that can still be picked on. I know they lost their wide receiver 1, but you still got Ridley. You might see some garbage time points. So it's like Tennessee or pass, which means pass.
For sure. Tennessee, if they get L'Jarius Sneed back, is tempting for me to play them because Jameson Williams, I believe he's suspended now. I'm not sure if he's playing this one or not yet. Is he taking his suspension right away? I thought so.
I think he is. It seems like that's what's happening. That was pretty up in the air where it's like, hey, he might appeal. It's like, well, you should tell us. I think he is suspended. I have my numbers adjusted as he's out right now.
Yeah, and so I think if Sneed can just cover, what's his face at number 1? I always forget his name, but I think that there can be a cover. Now the Lions, like you said, have the Packers on deck and coming out. They're in a sandwich, right? They're coming off the emotional win, so when they're in a sandwich, and you've seen the Lions do this crap before, dude. This is not new for the Lions in this spot. So it's a spot play. My algorithm says Lions, of course, just because that's what the numbers came out to. But the power rating is right on 11.5 for me. My power rating. So I'm literally on the number now that it moved a half point. But I would still take the Titans if Sneed's in. But I'm not. It's still lean. I'm not 100% sure. So let's pass on that one then and go to a much better game: the Ravens versus Browns. The Browns are taking money, buddy. Andy, +8. So I'm going to be honest with you. I took the 9.5. I couldn't. I actually took 10, but it was only one book that showed it. But I put it out at 9.5, and the total, can't remember what it was then. It was 44.5, and I took it because I said if Jameis Winston plays this game, it gives them the better chance to cover and win. I think Jameis Winston's actually more of an arm talent than both of those quarterbacks. Really, Deshaun Watson made a lot of his college numbers on his legs, and his legs have not been good. And can you really downgrade them from going from Watson to Winston? I don't think so.
No, I upgraded. So I know the Cooper stuff complicated it, but I actually upgraded the Cleveland Browns because I'm not grading it with 2017 Deshaun Watson or whatever. I'm grading it with the Deshaun Watson we've seen play in the last 5 weeks, and it's been pretit's pretty bad. I'm closer to 8 on this. So the number moved close to where I was supposed to be. The only knock on Baltimore, obviously, is that they're coming off a short week, but man, it's a divisional game. I'm not sure they're not gonna overlook this spot. It's a tough place to play. It is a lot of points for a Jameis Winston-led team. They're getting Chubb back. Like you'd think they'd be able to put something out there, and not only that, but some context about the Ravens defense. I know people have been like, oh, it's not really a pass funnel because people just can't run against them, so they pass, and people are down against them, so they pass. But they have been sort of bad against the pass.
Yeah, they have.
So somebody posted that, or somebody was chatting with me this morning about Winston's yardage total. It feels like, in what world isn't he slinging it for 250? It has been a secondary that you can beat. It's not a team you can run that well against, and they're probably going to be trailing. I like that Watson Winston. It's going to slip me up all week, but I did like that Winston yardage over, and then I'm pretty much on price now that it's come down to 8.
Yep. I am probably closer now. I think 7.5 or 8 is my number that I had, and I don't remember if I even upgraded him with Winston. I just think So I started with the team very injured because they were injured most of the year. And to be honest with you, this is more healthy, even without the quarterback, than they've been. And Cleveland, they're going to try this game. They're embarrassed too. It's not like a give up spot yet. Those are coming up in the next few weeks. But yeah, I'm going to give it a shot myself, and I got a better number, of course. But eights come up pretty often in the NFL now, especially when they're down 14, go for 2 and miss. So I like getting above 8. If you like the play as well, you definitely go above 8. But Winston can throw some pick sixes, and this can be completely destroyed on you too, because receivers or cornerbacks and safeties jump his routes. But I don't think that the safeties and corners are any good with the Ravens. Plus Humphrey's banged up. So yeah, I'm with you. I took it at a better number, but
yeah, Humphrey missing time matters. They get Molitor back, but like Humphrey misses time for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's move on to the next game, and we have the Packers Jaguars. Jaguars +4, total 49. All I'm going to say is that I am scared shitless that the Jaguars are good enough on offense to backdoor at any point. My numbers have the Packers probably more about 5.5, but I still not now. It's obviously went towards the Jaguars. This was higher before, but I understand it. It wouldn't shock me if they fumble it away and lose this game. I still would lean the Jaguars in a bad spot for the Packers, but maybe you something better than me.
Yeah, the Packers defense is tricky to figure out because the pass rush just hasn't been there. But the coverage, the runs, like it's like a middle of the pack defense that looks pretty good at times, despite not getting to the quarterback. So it feels like just another good spot for Trevor to keep playing the way he has the last few weeks. I'm a little lower. I would, if I had to play this gun to head, it's Jacksonville. Even if I've been high on Green Bay, this was a look ahead price. I grabbed the over on. I was happy to see that tick up a little. I think it's still a little low. I don't know. It was kind of disappointing to see that Green Bay game go under last week when I had some money on it after, like a 34-point first half or something along those lines. So it feels like Green Bay is going to pop on offense one of these weeks. That's what's probably scaring me away from this, because even getting their number one cornerback, the Jacksonville defense has been very, very hit and miss. They have some names. Yeah. They just don't have all the pieces.
100%. Let's move on to the next one. Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans. Texans -5, total 45.5. I have a better number. I had 6.5. I took it Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. The Texans, this is a rivalry, a division rivalry. Like it was Nico Collins that destroyed this team the last times they played. Yeah. Nico Collins is not in. I still think Diggs is a head case. I don't know what to think about that. The Texans do get pretty hyped up at home, though, at the same time. Anthony Richardson's got to play, but I'll tell you this, getting DeForest Buckner's back is nice. That's great for the Colts. They have Jonathan Taylor back playing. It's almost like the Colts are completely healthy. They thought that they could have won last game. It'd be tempting for me not to use it still at the 5 in the contest. I'm pretty low on the Colts, but I think I might be a little too low, being that I'm close to this number. Maybe I should have it at 4. What are your thoughts on this, Andy?
I'm pretty much on market here. I passed on this, but it does seem like the spot where if we're going to see CJ Stroud get right and play well with what's left for him at wide receiver, and obviously with Mixon helping out quite a bit, this Indy secondary is bad. This Indy secondary is rated pretty low. Even getting a piece back on the pass rush definitely helps, but it's a bad defense. You should be able to pick apart at times, and it feels like a spot where if Houston doesn't look good here, they're probably going to get another downgrade from me, because it's like, man, if this is a spot where you can't even get up and show me something offensively, like when are we going to see anything? It hasn't been a good run defense for Indy. Obviously, you should be able to get a ton there. It hasn't been a good coverage unit. If CJ Stroud doesn't step up in this spot, I guess I don't know what I'm doing with the Houston number, because I'm probably still too high favoring them by this much, because I'm pretty much on market and leaving this one be. I'm with you. I wish they'd play Flacco. I think long term it makes sense to see if you can develop Richardson into the quarterback, because Flacco obviously isn't a long term answer. He's 100 years old. But for us, for the fun, for the handicapping, it's a lot easier to tell you what Flacco's going to give you. Although maybe Richardson is just 48% completion rate or whatever, and a couple nice runs, a couple long bombs that almost hit, and go home for the day.
Well, what if they just did this? AR first half, Flacco second half in every single game. There we go, baby. You get development time, and then you get winning time to make the playoffs, right?
God, just come back. Second half Indy, and just second half Indy every week.
That'd be a great message to send, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. That'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah, we want to win. We need to get this guy some time.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you ever see Flacco come in, rush to your live betting immediately and put that baby in. Jets, Patriots +7, total 41. I'm passing on this game. I was not wrong on the Jets. I'm glad I didn't take them last week. I was more towards the Steelers side, and I really wish I leaned it hard. I didn't play it because I had a bad Sunday. That's why I didn't play it. I was having a rough day, but it's hard to get on the Patriots, and this is the Jets. Seriously, what the F are you freaking doing? Spot. It's like Devontae Adams comes on the team there less than a week, and he just yells at him in the locker room afterwards, like he's been there forever. Maybe they listen to that, but it seems strange too. Aaron Rodgers is kind of what I expected him to be. I'm just passing.
Yeah, he's hurt. Like, I don't think he's just fully healthy and ready to go. He has like a hamstring, 2 knees, and an ankle injury at this point. Yeah. And he's making some really bad passes. Every turnover seems like, well, that was, that obviously the Mike Williams thing was whatever it was, but a lot of the ones against Minnesota, it's like, those are your fault. Like, those are bad throws. And if he's going to make those bad throws and this defense is going to underperform, the Jets are not a contender. They're not a contender in their division even at this point, which is a harsh fall from early in the season. I'm passing on this one. I don't want to bet in the Jets.
I will say that I am going to probably use them as a teaser leg. And the reason that is because I just don't see the loss here. It is their home run spot. I just don't know if it's a cover 7 on the road home run spot, but do they have to win this game, man? I will be okay with the teaser leg, I think. I don't think I took this teaser yet, though. I don't think I found the dance partner I wanted yet. I have to look at my plays. But let's move on to the next one, and you can start Cardinals, Dolphins. Dolphins now 3.5. It looks like they're taking more money. They're -112 right now. Total 46. Do you agree with this line move moving up a little bit?
I do. It should be a good spot for, hey, we have all the good players. You just haven't seen them because our quarterbacks have sucked ass. Like the drop off, even if Tua can't spell his name or, is writing, working on his playbooks in crayon right now because he's still half concussed. Like, it's such a massive upgrade. And you forget, like, you have all pro wide receivers. You have very good running backs. Just the offense has been so disjointed without Tua in there. Like, it's a bigger upgrade than I wanted to give just because, like, what he does to elevate the rest of the players on that team from what we've seen. I mean, you guys watched the game. You saw, like, hey, Waddle hasn't got the ball and Reek hasn't got the ball till like the fourth quarter. It was a mess. This is an Arizona defense that's devoid of talent outside of one guy. They even lost they had someone step up, and Dennis Gardick. He was getting some sacks and pressures. He tore his ACL. Another offensive injury for them. Dolphins are getting healthier on defense. I sold this out to 4. So I'm going to play Miami.
No, dude, that's
and Arizona's short week as well. It is a shorter week heading down to an outdoor stadium in Florida.
I mean, let's face it, dude. They had no business winning that game. That flag at the end. Oh God, that was brutal. Yeah, I've got a few insights to the Cardinals, as a few of the people that work at the Cardinals are my neighbors, so that's nice. Unfortunately, Darius Robinson's mom just died yesterday, so he's gone. And I thought he was going to come back for this week because he was ready to play off injured reserve. He was a high draft pick, but he's not going to be in this game.
Sure.
So it's not like that's a line mover, but that's just a sad thing.
No, but it'd be nice. It'd also be nice to see what they have in him. I mean, that was a pick I think a lot of people are excited about.
Yes, I was excited for their defense too on that 4-3 type defensive end. So that would have been. I think that he could make a difference later in the year. So hopefully he's okay. Obviously after all that, but yeah, it's a home run spot for the Miami Dolphins. I heard here too is looking awesome, and everyone's all excited. Yeah, live
Yeah.
up to the pressure, Tua. I hope they're not overhyping it where he's mentally, the Cardinals have such a bad pass defense, though. It makes some sense, but the Dolphins have other problems. I expect this is a creative spot. I'm not playing it at 3.5 though, but it's Miami or probably. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted, to be honest with you. I see the Cardinals kind of covering 3 too. It's a key number now. So the 3 would have been better, right? I think.
Oh yeah, it's always better to get the better price. But even this, I've been where I'm at with
You
this
sold
number.
it to 4, so I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
you
almost at
expected
5
more.
with my pricing right now. I'm up to 5, so
Okay.
I'm playing this out of 4.
Okay. No, fair enough. And I'm gonna have to relook at my injury adjustment on this. Eagles, Bengals -3, total 48. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm using the Eagles as a teaser leg, and it was 2.5. I think when I took it, it's 3 -118 at DraftKings. It's 2.5, probably in most books still. Um, I I don't think the Eagles, all they need to do is run the ball. Don't throw it, just run the ball. The Bengals defense is bad against the run. That's my handicap. Can they screw it up? Sure. But I mean, to be honest with you, my numbers pretty much agree. What about yours?
Yeah, I played the Eagles straight up. I will use them in teaser legs too if it's sitting at 2.5 on Sunday morning. That's a definite look for a teaser leg, especially in a game that I think could be slowed down a little like that if they are going to run the ball. It's not like, oh, I hope they can completely dedicate their offense to the run. And that's not something I've ever seen before. Like they did it last week. We know they're not only willing and able, they're capable, and it can happen. It will happen again. And Cincinnati is bottom of the barrel for a lot of metrics against the run. So I played the Eagles straight up, and yeah, I think it's a nice teaser leg at 2.5.
All right, there you go. Nice teaser leg for the
Don't want
Eagles.
Jalen. I don't need Jalen screwing it up for me. I just run the ball.
Yeah,
Saquon should be fine. He's going to be fine scrambling too, but I don't think they're going to have to do. They're not going to need a lot out of him.
I don't like the ref there, Hussey. He's a home guy. That bugs me a little bit. It's hard to do that, I know, to look at it, but I do, and that's just a degenerate in me. But he's not as bad as Cheffers, but we'll just leave it at that. Let's move on to the Falcons, Bucks, and the Bucks are +2.5 now. The total is 46. So Andy, you break this down, and I'll see if I agree because I did make a play on this.
Yeah, I've been very pro Tampa. Like my Tampa numbers have been very much inflated, I guess, compared to the market. I've played them a few times. This is a stay away game for me too, just because it's hard to make this adjustment where usually quarterbacks are your adjusters, and you have 2 wide receivers, and like I said earlier in the show, the depth is kind of rough there. I didn't know how big of an adjustment to make. So right now I'm still showing a little value in Tampa, and I don't think I want to play that. We've seen these two teams play before, but it's going to be obviously quite a different look. Bucky Brooks, but did I get the name right? I feel like I didn't do it right. What's
Bucky
they have
Irving.
like
Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving, Bucky Brooks. Who the hell is that? Bucky Irving. He's been missing practice with a toe injury. They have like 3 running backs. Maybe that doesn't matter, but they're a little banged up on offense after finally getting healthy on defense. So I'm staying away from my Bucks here.
I'm playing Atlanta. I did give them a pretty big downgrade from that. I think that they were so reliant on Godwin and Evans because that pass defense is awful, just pure awful this year. And now they're going to run the ball, I assume, more. Maybe they throw to Cade Otton and McMillan. I don't think that they have enough time to really develop that. But I assume that Atlanta should be able to stop the run a little bit here. I know Atlanta was better last year against the run, but I think Atlanta's in a good spot too. And I know they beat them at home, but after that loss last week, I just feel like Kirk Cousins should be able to sling it a little bit and do it. Now I'm just below 3, and I took it at 2. So I guess it's still kind of a play at 2.5, but it's a small one. So that I have to give out something on the show.
Yeah.
Minus 2.5.
No, I just struggled with it because Kirk's been, we've seen inconsistent. Like he should have had a bigger week last week. I don't know, maybe the familiarity. He'll be fine this week because we've seen good Kirk.
Yes, we have seen good Kirk. He's kind of back and forth. Good Kirk would be great for this. He's got the talent, man, on that team with Darnell Mooney and obviously Pitts, the big guy at tight end. They just got to put it together. Bijan Robinson. Atlanta's crazily healthy, in a way. And I know they messed up a center earlier, but they're pretty healthy, now. And so I kind of like that part about them. Bill Seahawks +3, total 47. This is a perfect spread to me. I'm completely passing. I would have liked the over a lot more if the rain forecast wasn't so bad, but right now it's a pass.
I played some Seattle. I'm actually a little lower on Buffalo still, and maybe high on Seattle, I guess. But I can't get this quite out to 3 at home. Bad, not a bad travel spot, but a cross country game for them, and it might be rainy. Like the weather, legit. This is the one main weather concern, but I don't think we're going to get super high wind. It's looking more just like rain, which maybe just hurts the defenses more than anything. Seattle's trying to get healthy. I don't think they'll ever quite get there this year. I don't know quite what to make of that defense, but I mean, the Buffalo offense against half decent teams has been inconsistent as well. We saw that against Houston. We saw that, at times early on against a Tennessee team that you probably should have beat the tar out of. So I like this spot for the Seattle offense as well. It's still a Buffalo defense. It's missing some key pieces. And, even with, I think the downgrade for DK is probably a little much considering who you have behind him.
Yeah, this Smith-Njigba is he needs more opportunity, I almost think, to get going. This could be a blessing in disguise for him, for sure, and Tyler Lockett owners of fantasy. You made great points, and that you kind of made me just think a little bit more about that side too, because I know the Bills' defense against the run isn't great, and if they got some great running backs over there with Charbonnet and Walker and some of those studs over there on the and Seattle. Seattle's just really weird to me. Them and the Giants are super weird. I'll get to the Giants, but see, it's like the Giants go and just smoke them, and then they look like that at home, and it's just Seattle. Then they go to Atlanta, look awesome. They're very hard for me to digest right now, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it's I feel like a higher variant team maybe. And maybe that's why taking them as a dog is a better thing than taking them as a favorite, So that's
I'm fine. I'm fine getting some points here. Yeah, there's been some coverage issues. And some of my coverage numbers for Buffalo aren't great. So it feels like Gino's had good weeks. Gino has had some bad throws. He's made some big mistake throws, but he's looking good with the deep ball. And if they want to lean on, it doesn't matter what they lean on. They should have a slight advantage, both sides, running or passing against his defense. So, yeah, Seattle and the points at home. Don't hate it.
Andy +3 with Seattle. So I have you, that, and Miami so far. Can't remember if you did another one yet. I don't think you took the Browns. Did you take the Browns?
Philly straight up.
Okay, Philly. That's what I missed. Okay, Philly. I'll give it a +3 because that's what's at. All right, so Chargers, and the Chargers are playing the very injured Saints. That's getting very healthy though. Taysom Hill should be back. Chris Olave should be back, but Spencer Rattler is still their quarterback. So that's why I'm teasing the Chargers down to 1 or 1.5, depending upon the book you have. And if it was Carr, I would play the Saints, but I'm not. So we'll have fun with that.
Yeah, I wondered what this would move to. If Carr was like ruled in, I guess I don't know how healthy he'd be, but you'd think this would be more like a 3.5. It is the bad spot, though. It is the 9 days of rest for New Orleans coming off Thursday, and then the Chargers with shorter rest coming off Monday, the Widowmaker spot. Usually teams underperform. I think it was like a 60% cover rate.
Yeah.
These games do tend to go over as well. I don't know what to make of Harbaugh and his decision making. little conservative, little old school at times against probably cost them the game. Obviously, the refs weren't great there, and then New Orleans, even getting healthy, just having Spencer Rattler at quarterback, I'm not sure I have him low enough, and I'm kind of on market here too. So this was one I was happy to step away from.
Harbaugh just likes to win, but he leaves himself susceptible to those calls. Pass interference call could happen. The roughing call that was just the guy trying to make a play, and he even hit him that hard. He kind of missed him. He called him wrong. He missed him. So that was just really weird. He was going for the ball, I think, and so. But here's the thing: you don't want to lay points with Jim Harbaugh. He's one of those that is just another one that is just happy to win by 1 point. Chiefs, Raiders. Raiders are plus 9.5, total 41.5. So are the Chiefs really that mad that the Raiders busted out Kermit the Frog on Patrick Mahomes last year?
I mean, I've heard that too, but man, it's we've watched this offense. It doesn't feel like a team I should be excited to lay double digits on the road with. It's Minshew. Like my numbers would say play Vegas here, and that's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, the tens keep getting gobbled up, which is fine. I'm, again, gun to head. If you made me play this, I'd find the best Raiders number I can and play it. It's a divisional home game, and you're getting 10 points. Jacoby Myers is practicing. Bowers is very good. The biggest thing is this defense is so good. And, we joked about this too, because I said this about a different game, but there's a non-zero chance Vegas just doesn't score against this defense. This defense is so good. If they struggle, if Myers isn't 100%, their running game has been bad, and it could just be a comedy of errors for them. And you're going to feel bad having the 10 when you could have got, hey, what about plus 24.5 late in the first quarter? If you liked it at 10, you're going to love it here. So I'm steering clear of this one.
I'm taking the Chiefs, and you can get some good numbers out there. And you said it. Spagnuolo is the best defense coordinator in this league. I thought the Jarius Sneed thing was going to hurt them more than it did.
Yeah.
Now you got Nazeed Johnson and Connor and Justin Reed playing great safety. Trent McDuffie. They're really looking good out there. This defense is better than last year's defense, which is just filthy, not super injured, Now they get DeAndre Hopkins, who's hungry for a freaking quarterback, man. And the Juju Smith are injured, Sky Moore, they don't do much for me. They even play with Brown yet. I know Rashee Rice, but Xavier Worthy's getting his feet wet, and this dude's the fastest guy in the NFL. Kareem Hunt is kind of looking like Pacheco was in a way. I'm laying it here because of all that, and maybe I'm a sucker. And usually I don't do this, but it is a spot where they did get coal in their stocking last year, and they probably remember that the whole Raider disrespect. I could see this being 17-3, something like that. Maybe the under is a decent play, Andy. That's
where I'm so worried about. Like, hey, I show value on the Raiders. Yeah, but what if they don't score? It's just gonna be hard to cover this number, despite what I think of the Chiefs' offense kind of struggling. What if they just don't score?
I've never seen a team win a game and not complete a pass after the first quarter. So that says it all. Maybe the Chiefs should be thanking them from Christmas because they won the Super Bowl. So it is crazy. Panthers, Denver. This is crazy. Denver laying 10, 41.5. Bad news. Bryce Young's quarterbacking. Dude, I saw his demeanor on the sidelines and him kind of laughing it up with Dalton, and then just kind of like looking like little bro.
I think he was happy to be benched.
I know. I'm thinking to myself, this dude knew back in Alabama that he wasn't a starting quarterback. I don't know what the hell happened. I have no chance laying points, and maybe this is Bryce Young's forget about it. Finally, I can wake up in the morning, have some coffee, but sadly, my numbers have this Carolina, and it is not by much, but I am staying away. I see some power ratings out there that have the Broncos worse than I've ever seen a team. Or not the Broncos, the Panthers. So What do
Yeah.
you think? What do you think?
Yeah, I've continued to upgrade Denver, and that's something earlier in the week. That eight looked good to me, and it's one before I adjusted numbers. I'm like, man, it's a big number for Bo Nix. But again, it's another spot where if Carolina isn't going to score, like it doesn't take that much from this running game and some dink and dunk from Nix to cover this number. I don't know about laying it at 10. This was something earlier in the week where I talked to some people. I said, I'm going to play this at 8. This is fine. I think I ended up getting a worse number than that even because it started to move right away. Where are we, just 10 across the board now? Yeah, 10.5's even popping at this point. I don't know about laying that many points, but it does feel like Carolina team total under is a nice look in that one too. I just don't think they get the ball moving at all.
Yeah, the books try to get you no teasers, no betting. Oh, team total. That's right. I forgot about that. I mean that's very possible. Denver's defense is even good without Baron Browning and Singleton, which kind of shocked me.
Yeah, and they're getting Surtain back. So
yeah,
people have stepped up. They have guys, Benito, they have guys really overperforming in the pass rush right now. I didn't think this defense was going to be this good, and it's very, very good at this point.
Bears Commanders are +3. Total is 43.5. All right. I mean, my first play of the week was the Bears pick 'em because I said it was a free roll. I don't think it was complete free roll. I think it was a real free roll. It would be Commanders -1 or 2. But I knew it was close enough to Jaden Daniels' injury adjustment would be way more than that. So now you're seeing it. I mean, is there a chance he plays? They say he might practice Friday, I guess. But my plan is to tease myself out of this too. I get the Bears at pick 'em at -110. I'm going to tease myself out of it, but I'm not doing anything at 3. Total 43.5. What do you think that this Marcus Mariota thing could save them if he's playing?
It's one thing to Mariota to come in, the team not to prep for him, although it's a similar style, and him to play with a lead against a substandard defense. A team that is beat up and bad. Like him looking good against the Carolina Panthers isn't terribly surprising. And the Bears are rested. The Bears have a better defense. It has been a really nice pass rush. And yeah, it doesn't seem like a really good spot for him. I don't think Daniels plays. It wasn't even he's going to practice Friday. He was going to try to practice Friday. See how he feels. Doesn't sound good. He hasn't practiced at all yet this week. I don't know if they do flak jacket and shoot him up with some good stuff and he plays. I don't know if that's what you want either. That probably takes a big part of his game out of it anyway if he's not able to run around as much. So I'm not excited about this game because this is supposed to be the matchup, the good rookies. That's supposed to be fun. So yeah, I'm fine with this price being where it is. It did move a little more now that I think every time he doesn't practices, it catches a little more Bears money.
Right. That's why I'm waiting. Maybe he practices limited. But here's the thing. Let's say if he plays and he's kind of still in pain. Rib injuries, I've had them, and it hurt when I inhaled. Every time I breathed like normal or yawned, that was freaking painful for 3 weeks. I had that before. It was awful. I don't know if he's got that kind of a core injury. But, dude, I don't know if you want to play him against a Bears defense like that. I don't think it's a great idea. I think it's better.
No, long term, you sit him for sure.
Yeah. He's a rookie. Sit him. I mean, you're in good shape right now, sit him a week. And that way you don't have the excuses either. If the Bears beat you and, the Bears got the bear cut, you don't have the media bugging you. I mean, and maybe they don't care about that, Andy, and they shouldn't. But it's just another thought. I will tease myself out of this. And so I think that Mariota can keep it somewhat close. And I will say Caleb Williams is from Washington, D.C., though. So he's going to want to have a game. And he's got family there. So that's interesting aspect of this one, too. Are you excited about Niners and Cowboys? -4, total 46.5.
Let's do. I kind of like this under. I don't know how Dallas is going to get it going offensively. People have been able to, key in on what they do through the air and just take it away at this point for big chunks of games. And offense looks bad, and the defense is just an absolute run funnel. It just Yeah. Oh, all my wide receivers are hurt. Why don't I just run? I magically have this backup running back who's good. We lose Christian McCaffrey. Oh, we had another Christian McCaffrey in the back, so it's fine. Like Mason's got the shoulder injury, and I think they're holding him out of practice just to limit the amount of hits he takes on that. But I would think the Niners would be able to run here, to establish a lead, then continue to do so. And then I don't know. I don't know what Dallas is going to do. It feels like Niners, even beat up Niners, do get the win here. I'm not close to the points. My numbers would say, hey, you should maybe bet some Dallas, which doesn't feel like something I want to do. I'm below 4. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to take the Cowboys. I would much rather take under 46. Even though, I mean, their number's been bet down already, and I'm still thinking it should be lower.
I have with the injuries minus 4.25, and that's going to change. I think Samuel's going to play. I don't think Juwan Jennings might play. I haven't heard today yet. I know that Devo showed up for practice for the open part. Kittle limited. Bosa is going to play. Conley, another backup, limited.
Yeah, I don't
special
know.
teams. Yeah, but is Parsons playing? I guess everyone assumes Parsons playing, right? Did not participate in Wednesday.
Yeah, I think both of those are probably game time. If the defensive players, if Parsons bland, if you get them back, good. If not, I'm still thinking I'm fine. I think I'm fine with this under. I can't see taking Dallas at this number right now either.
I think the under is a decent look for sure. There's no way I'm taking Dallas because every time they play a good team or a great team, they get smoked and they just beat up on the little teams. It's just the way.
Yeah, and if that happens out of the gate, they're just not going to have chances to get back into it because the Niners will be able to run long, time-consuming drives.
I have a strong lean to the Niners at minus 4, even though my number is 4.25. I do think that Devo's going to play, and I think that you are going to get Kittle, and I think that could be enough after just an embarrassing loss. I guess that Brock Purdy got reamed out pretty bad by Shanahan at the locker, from what I'm hearing, so that's not good. Well, we got one more game. Giants Steelers minus 6, total 36. We touched on this one. So I tweeted out a stat this morning, just like a general one, not too advanced. Yards per play. Did you know the Giants are 3.7 yards per play at home and 5.7 on the road? It's almost silly. And it's not like the home schedule was that much harder than the road schedule. It was kind of equal-ish. I do favor that the home was a little harder, but it was just a mind-blowing thing after 7 games to see that to me, man.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but somebody in the live chat yesterday had put out a similar number, and it wasn't just for this year. It was, I think, his career, and it was Daniel Jones has like a massive road split advantage too. I mean, he was underwater, more interceptions than touchdowns at home, but he had a really good number as far as the ratio goes on the road, which I don't know what sense that makes. I guess he played in a shitty stadium apparently, but yeah, his road splits were good. This is just a really tough defense. Like this doesn't bode well for anything here. They're gonna have to throw the ball. He's gonna be back there a ton. I know they've had the injuries to Herbig and Highsmith, and if TJ Watt still exists, my numbers would say play the Giants, play the under, but I don't know. Like if anything that we saw improves from last week, and we still get some Russ magic, and this defense shows up, this could be an ugly one for the Giants again.
It could. I mean,
like I said, we said at the beginning, we're out on Pittsburgh, but this is.
I know this might not be the spot.
It's not the team I'm excited to take to fade them.
Well, Dexter Lawrence didn't practice Thursday because of his hip. What the hell is that? I mean, he's their best player on defense, and then obviously the Thomas injury to the tackle. What's TJ Watt going to do against their backup, man, or whoever they find as a backup to throw in there? Oh God, it is. I mean, I wanted to fade Russell Wilson in the second week because he looked really good the first week. I really wanted to fade him, man, but I need to know at least if Dexter Lawrence is freaking playing. I need to know that. That's important. But here we are, beer bet bangers, Andy. Any like plus money? It could be just a money line play on something you liked, or anything. You mentioned one that's really interesting earlier. Any beer bet bangers that you want to throw out there? Throw 10, 20, 15, whatever.
Yeah, you know what? I still got to hunt around. I might have to drive to get legal books on this to get the best of the number, but I am gonna play the Panthers to be shut out. You should find that should be 20 to 30 or better. Like the worst numbers you're gonna find on that are 20 to 1. I've seen people bandying around 31 to 1, I think. Just Bryce Young's playing against what has turned out to be a really good defense in kind of a goofy spot where, hey, guess what? You're coming back off the bench. You don't have Adam Thielen. You're playing a really good run defense that probably limits what you're going to get, the help you've been getting from Hubbard. It's just a bad matchup for him offensively. And I don't know. I don't know what the second half of that game looks like. If they score in garbage time, I'm going to be mad. So maybe I do see if somebody has a first half shutout prop too. Obviously a much smaller number, but I'm going to do that for sure. I like the Carolina to basically not score.
Basically not score. They're going to be mad at that one. I love it. Why not? I think Denver could completely shut this team down, and they are just. I mean, is Thielen playing? I don't know. Does it matter?
No. He's still sitting.
Yeah, and Deontay Johnson's in trade talks, of course. Why wouldn't he be? And he actually, it's like, how much can you get for him? You know, because he's not. He wasn't that good at the last year of the Steelers. He's almost like that other guy that the Bears traded for, Claypool. That was awful. That was good for a little bit. And it's just like he really wasn't. I guess I like the bet, but I'm actually going to go on what you suggested. I took the Jaguars at plus 130 to make the playoffs before the season. It's at 7-1.
I like that,
but I'm not. I'm going to go with the division. I'm going to go with the big one, dude. Let's have some fun. This is beer bet bangers for a reason, right? It's not like I'm going to go with 20. It's 25 to 1, right? I have to relook at it. A division winner. I am again.
There was somebody said Caesars had like 30. There's some pretty big prices on that. Yeah. So Thielen is out of his practice window. Like he's going to be a limited participant for that. I don't think he plays. This is
it was a hammy though.
He feels like he's too old to be on the trade block, but I don't know. I mean, people are trading second rounders for old ass wide receivers. I mean, if somebody offers them a fifth rounder for Adam Thielen, I don't think they say no.
No, probably not. I mean, Thielen he's got some really good hands. He's like an old man's Cooper Kupp, I guess, in a way right now. Even though Cooper Kupp's getting up there, but no, it's not going to matter. I think it's just going to be a massive hit. 20 to 1, 30 to 1. Why not? I like that play. I'll be looking for that play. I'll tweet it out if I can find it. But I saw 22 to 1 with the Jaguars right now, and I'm going to keep shopping, of course. But I'll just say 22 to 1 for my beer bet banger for the Jaguars to win the division. And I think they beat somebody already. I thought they beat the Colts. They beat the Colts, I think. So that would be fun. But what else is fun is listening to Andy on the deep dive over there, and obviously follow him, and it's great stuff on BetSperts. Andy, where could our listeners and viewers get your great information?
Yeah, on Twitter at AndyMSFW, and of course we do the deep dive twice a week, Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern over on the BetSperts Media YouTube channel. And I mean, we even put it on Twitter live if you want to join there. Those are podcasts as well. Anywhere you find podcasts, go find those. I do a daily newsletter. Yep. Not daily, not Tuesdays. Tuesdays I sleep. Saturdays I take a day off. But 5 times a week, NFL newsletter. You can find all that. I have links in my. God, I sound like an OnlyFans girl. Links in the bio, guys.
and Andy is a hilarious follow too at AndyMSFW. So make sure you check that out. All right, Andy, sounds great. We'll be talking soon. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.